Is the Holosun EPS Carry the best micro optic for slimline concealed carry pistols like this P365X macro? If you're considering adding this to your EDC, I have some information and opinions you'll find valuable. I currently have over 1,000 rounds through this optic, and that doesn't include the amount of time I've spent dry firing with it. I've definitely had enough time to gather some solid feedback, so let's get into it. Welcome back, or thanks for stopping by if it's your first time here. I've had a lot of time with the Holosun EPS Carry recently. I've used this optic on multiple pistols, having used it on the Canik MC9, the Avidity Arms PD10 review, and now on this P365X macro. All totaled, I've got over 1,000 rounds through this optic, and I've been carrying it regularly for a few weeks now on the X macro. Overall, it's been good to me, and I don't really have anything bad to say about it. I recently did a review on the full-size Holosun EPS, and if you haven't seen that yet, go check it out after you finish this video. There's a lot of similarities between the two, but size is not one of them. The EPS Carry is a micro optic, so it's quite small in overall size, though it still feels like you have a big window. The glass itself is pretty clear and there's no magnification, so what you're looking at is exactly what you'll see. This is nearly the same size as the Holosun 507K in every way. It mounts to the 507K mounting footprint and can use the same adapter plates. But if you want an EPS Carry specific plate, I do know CHPWS has some for a few different pistol models currently. The biggest difference between this and the Holosun 507K is the obvious box sitting on top of the base. The 507K is an open emitter. The EPS Carry is an enclosed emitter, meaning all the electronics, including the emitter that puts the dot on your glass, is inside the housing. This helps protect your emitter from elements like rain, dirt, snow, and dust, or even lint from carrying concealed. This stuff can get into the emitter in an open emitter style optic and can cause problems with how your dot displays, making it spotty or disappear altogether. This won't happen with the EPS Carry, and the enclosed style also makes it really easy to clean. Just a couple wipes and you're done. The body is made of a 7075 T6 aluminum, as are other Holosun products, and in my experience, it's been quite durable, so your emitter is well protected, and so is your investment. With this particular model of EPS Carry, the MRS or multi-reticle system, you have different reticle options. This isn't a feature that is offered on other models, but if you pick up the MRS version, you'll have 3 reticles. You can choose from a 2 MOA dot only, 32 MOA circle only, or 32 MOA circle with 2 MOA dot combo. I'm using the green version. I do prefer green over red. If you have astigmatism like I do, green is easier on astigmatism. So if you're concerned about your dot taking on that star shape, green will do it too, but it'll do it a lot less. Personally, I think the circle dot combo is too cluttered, especially given that you have a small window to look through. On the other hand, I honestly believe the 32 MOA circle only is a great choice for self-defense. If I could get a 20 MOA circle only without the hashes, I'd never use anything else. Circle only gives you a clear sight through the reticle itself, and this gives you more to see to place accurate shots. While a 32 MOA circle isn't made for precision, it is great for speed. It's incredibly easy to acquire and is useful out to any reasonable self-defense distance. And for an EDC pistol, having something easy to pick up off your draw and easy to follow under recoil makes hits on target under stress a lot easier. For your average person in your average self-defense scenario, this will definitely give you an upper hand over a small dot. The only downside I've really found is when using the circle reticle. Around the edges of the glass, the reticle does get distorted, but if you're looking straight through it, it looks good and you don't see it under live fire. But I didn't want to leave that out. If you do want more precision, or if you just like the dot more, the 2 MOA dot is great, and I've spent a lot of time using the 2 MOA dot. If you find this video valuable, or even just entertaining, do me a solid and hit the subscribe button. Your support this way helps me to continue to grow this channel and bring the content you want to see. One feature I use on all of my Holosun optics is the button lockout mode. Turning this on prevents unintended button presses. If you're carrying this concealed, there's the possibility of buttons could be manipulated, especially if you're left-handed and leaning onto something or bumping into stuff. And the lockout mode ensures your settings like your reticle and brightness doesn't change or turn off completely. Lockout mode does turn off the auto brightness feature, but I honestly don't prefer auto mode. It's nice that it dims your dot in low light so you're not blinding yourself if you woke up at 2 in the morning. The downside is it doesn't know if you're in the dark looking into a bright space like indoors to outdoors. In the middle of the day, your dot doesn't adjust to compensate for a brighter background. I prefer using the manual mode with the lockout feature turned on so that my dot is always bright enough regardless of the circumstances. Another one of my favorite features is the auto off and shake awake. This helps to preserve battery life and keeps your dot ready when you need it. The default time is 10 minutes, but you can set it for 1 hour, 12 hours, or turn it off completely so it never shuts off. The shake awake is rather sensitive, and even the smallest bumps turn it back on, so if you're responding to a situation at night and you're grabbing your pistol off your nightstand, it'll be on before you finish picking it up. I've owned many Holosun optics, and I've never experienced an issue with the shake awake being reliable or consistent. I mentioned this feature can help preserve your battery, and with the right settings you can get up to 50,000 hours of battery life. Powered by one CR1620 battery, this shouldn't go out for a long time. My recommendation, however, is to change the battery once a year to ensure it's always fresh and ready to go. It doesn't end there though. The solar panel on the MRS version helps power your optic if you're in a bright environment to further extend your battery life. In fact, the solar panel is so good that it'll run your optic even if there's no battery in it. This is a great backup just in case the battery dies and you need your pistol for self-defense. And before I forget, Holosun did not leave out one of the most innovative aspects of their designs, the battery tray. It's still on the side and gives you really easy access to the battery without having to take your dot off your pistol and then go to the range to confirm your zero. You can change your battery and keep your zero without any hassle, and it's really convenient. I did have an issue with the screw for the battery tray backing out on one occasion. The dot kept turning off during both live and dry fire, and I couldn't figure it out until I noticed one day the screw and the tray had backed out. But once I tightened it down, those issues went away. So just be mindful of tightening that screw enough. Holosun recommends tightening it to 5 inch-pounds and blue Loctite. On the opposite side are the function buttons to make all of your adjustments and setting changes. And Holosun made these buttons pretty big and they're easy to use. They give you a lot of feedback, both tactile and audible. Windage and elevation adjustment screws are on the top and side as you'd expect, and the adjustment is 1 MOA per click or 1 inch at 100 yards. Real quick, I want to shout out to Tyrant CNC. They're friends of the channel and they sent me this magwell and mag extension to test out on the X Macro. So far, I'm really digging it. I'll have a review coming soon, but I have some good things to say about it. Mounting the EPS Carry is rather easy, and even though it's enclosed, Holosun managed to maintain their mounting style, with the screws securing from the top like they would on the 507K. And with this being the same footprint as the 507K, this means you can mount it on anything that has a 507K RMS-C footprint, and in most cases, without an adapter plate. If you do need an adapter plate, CHPWS has some for EPS Carry specifically, but the EPS Carry fits any 507K plate. The SIG P365X Macro has an RMS-C optic footprint, and while the EPS Carry fits, it doesn't quite fit, and the optic is a bit loose and bounces around. Luckily, Holosun has you covered. For the RMS-C footprint, they include an adapter plate to accommodate the EPS Carry, and it works really well without adding much height. The extra height does have some overall impact in your ability to use the factory sights as a backup, and the built-in rear sight doesn't co-witness with the front sight while sitting on the X Macro adapter plate. If you want a solid co-witness, you'd want to find sights that are just a bit taller. Alright, now you got everything mounted on and you have your favorite reticle selected. Now what distance do you zero it at? That's a topic of debate among the internet. The EPS Carry comes roughly zeroed at 25 yards out of the box, and Holosun says it should take minimal adjustments to zero at that distance. I confirmed at 25 yards, but what distance you should zero at is really up to you though. Do some research and make good choices. After 1,000 plus rounds, I've not had any issues aside from the screw and battery tray slightly backing out, but that was several hundred rounds ago and hasn't happened since, but I'm keeping an eye on it. It's been really solid for me, and under live fire it doesn't feel as small as it is, and it's easy to run fast without losing your dot, and I've really had a lot of fun with it. It's been about 3 months and I'm using the battery provided by Holosun. It's going strong and there's a lot of different settings you can use to maximize your battery life. The MRS version has the solar panel, which does do a good job of serving its purpose, but do I need it? Probably not. But is it nice to have? I suppose. Do you need multiple reticles? You can only use one at a time, but if you train regularly, you can swap between them for different styles of training and find your favorite. I really like this optic, and honestly, I don't see myself going back to an open emitter on my EDC. They maximized size and concealability without sacrificing any features, and while managing to make it convenient and easy to mount, ensuring it's compatible with many optic-ready EDC pistols out of the box. All things considered, I don't have any qualms recommending the Holosun EPS Carry to anyone. For your average person who carries a firearm for self-defense, this will meet your needs. but I'm just some guy on the internet. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you have an EPS carry? Do you think enclosed emitter optics are the future? Do you prefer red or green? What's your go-to EDC optic? I'll do my best to respond to everyone because I really enjoy the engagement. If you've made it this far, hit the subscribe button. I'll catch you guys on the next one.